In this tutorial we'll take a look at the project window. If you're coming to Family Historian completely from scratch, then this is the place that you will start, and also if you're coming from an earlier version, this will be the first screen you see on opening Family Historian version 4. In your version you will only have a single project, the Family Historian sample project. This is because you haven't yet created projects from your data. If you're coming from an earlier version, you don't actually need to create a project. However, I would recommend that you do. So on this screen we have a few very useful things. One, it shows you what autosave you've got for your settings, and you can click on that to change that if you want. And you've got the location that your Family Historian projects are stored. Now you can click on this link to change it. However, it's worth remembering that when you change it, it won't automatically copy any projects that you've already got. So when you change it, your sample project will disappear. However, this is easily fixed, as within the More Tasks button down at the bottom there's a Samples option, and within the Samples option is an option to reset the tutorial files and reset the project file. If you hit the Reset Sample Project, it will recreate your sample project in whatever is your current location for your documents. Now, as you can see here, mine are within the My Dropbox folder. This allows me to keep my Family Historian project in sync between more than one computer, which can be very helpful. Now, fairly obviously, if I click on the Family Historian sample project and click on Open Project, it will open the sample project on the screen. From there, I can return to the project window by simply selecting Project Window from the File menu. What I'd like to do now is to take a look at some of the options that are available on the screen in the More Tasks button. Now, this is running version 4.1, so as you will see, you've got several additional options if you ever saw 4.0. If you haven't got these options, it means you're running 4.0 and should download the latest 4.1 upgrade from the website, either from FHUG or from familyhistorian.co.uk. You've got the option here to set a default project. So for instance, if I click Sample Project, More Tasks, and then click Default Project, what will happen is a small tick will appear, and each time you start Family Historian, the sample project will open. And we can turn that off again by simply clicking again. The other options which are well worth looking at are Copy Project, which allows you to copy the project, and this is a good way of backing up your project in that you can copy it over onto an external hard drive, onto a USB key, and by doing it this way it will also copy all the contents, so any media, anything that you've put in your public folder, which more on later, and also everything else about custom charts, etc. Delete Project does exactly what it says on the tin. If you click Delete Project, it will come up and warn you how many files that you're going to delete, and you can click OK and it will delete the project. That's permanent. The final one is Rename. So if you've called your project a name and you've gone off it, simply click the Rename Project and you can give it a new name. While we're on the subject of names, it's a good idea to keep your Family Historian project names reasonably short, because Family Historian uses the project name as part of the folder title. So I would recommend keeping them short, especially if you're on XP, which has a few extra limits on the length of file names. We've also got some GEDCOM tasks here. Now, if you come from version 3, most of these will look pretty familiar. You can create a blank GEDCOM file and you can open a GEDCOM file. The Open GEDCOM file option is quite useful if you're coming from another program and you just want to quickly open the file and take a look at it before you create a project. Autosave options we've talked about before, and the final one that's just fallen off the bottom of the screen here is Exit Application. Okay, the next one I'd really recommend, especially if you're either new or you're coming from version 3, is click on the tips for new and upgrading users and have a read of the project information. It'll give you a good idea of where you're coming from.